Hi, I'm Dominic Corrie. Today I'm talking to Ian Howard, TVNZ's Social Media Marketing Manager, about how integral social media is to modern day broadcasting and whether advertisers can get value out of it or if it's just a lot of chit chat. Hi Ian, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Thanks for taking the time. So Ian, social media is becoming increasingly integral to effective content engagement. Why is this?
Well, I think we're talking about video content. Video content traditionally was the preserve of the TV screen in the family home, and that's something that people always engaged with. Dinner time conversations were about the TV shows that families just watched. People come into work the following day, stand around the water cooler and talk about the drama that they watched the night before. So it's always driven levels of conversation. It's always driven engagement. I think where social media has changed that is that rather than have to wait until the dinner table, rather than have to get around the water cooler the following day, and rather than that conversation being bordered by a kind of physical location, you've got to be eye to eye with someone, you can now have those conversations as you're watching in real time with the world.
So there's a lot of social media engagement occurring. How do advertisers get in on this?
Well, I think firstly it boils down to the strength of the content. It's as important that advertiser content is great and something that people want to talk about anyway as it is that broadcasters' content is. And if people want to talk about it, with social media there now, they're able to talk about it instantly, and advertisers are able to get people talking about their products on platforms and with huge audiences in a way that they weren't able to before.
Would you say that New Zealand is up to date with social media trends in terms of the integration with brands and television content?
I think probably not quite up to date, but we're catching up. I think we're still probably a year or two behind the US markets than the UK markets for various reasons. Twitter's probably the biggest social media platform in terms of synchronous activity with TV programs.
What are the areas that New Zealand needs to sort of get up to date on when it comes to social media TV integration?
Well, I think it'll be driven by smartphone penetration, so the majority of social media use, particularly around synchronous activity with TV programs, is on mobile screens. That's showing a massive acceleration in growth as well. So as we get more smartphones, as people's data plans get bigger and bigger and they stop worrying about how much data they're using, I think we'll see them automatically migrate across onto those platforms.
So I know this is kind of a difficult question, but how do advertisers monetize the social media interaction across on-air and online content?
Realistically, I think we need to accept that social media at the moment is quite a small part of the mix. And really, the value to advertisers is around having engaged eyeballs on their messaging on other platforms.
Shortland Street, for example, it's our most liked show on Facebook and it's our most streamed show. Does that make it our most valuable social media program?
There's a lot of interaction, there's a lot of people talking about it. So yeah, in terms of value to an advertiser, of being wrapped around that, being integrated, having people talking about that, enables that advertiser messaging to get out further. The vast majority of social media interaction with television actually happens around live TV, so it's around and big event television.
So shows like New Zealand's Got Talent and MasterChef that have a huge Twitter presence as they're airing, how much value does that Twitter presence have to TVNZ?
Well, it's very difficult to quantify an exact value, but I think we just have to have faith that there is value to it in terms of driving ratings in the same way as word of mouth drives ratings. Word of mouth's always been a really important part of the marketing mix. It's always been accepted that getting people talking about your shows will get people to tune in, will get people to engage with that show. And really social media is just word of mouth on digital platforms.
In terms of giving advertisers what they need when it comes to social media integration, is TVNZ always looking at new ways to provide value?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a full team that's set up looking at how it can provide media solutions to advertisers that match their needs. And obviously every advertiser is going to have a different need. The type of message, whether they're looking for an instant response, whether it's just a brand play, is different, and therefore you would approach those in different ways. But social and digital platforms are a part of our thinking every time we're looking at campaigns for clients and every time we're taking a show out and looking for a sponsorship deal or integration within that show, absolutely.
So there's infinite possibilities for the future of this. What's an example of an innovative new technique that's being used in this area?
Oh, I think lots of broadcasters are starting to catch up with using social media to allow people to influence what they're seeing on the screen. So a few years ago now, we had a TV format called Reservoir Hill.
Won an Emmy.
Absolutely, won an Emmy for interactive television. And that literally put the power of what was going to happen in the next episode in the hands of the viewers. You see formats like American Idol who have moved from using SMS voting, which is essentially just a one-to-one communication that ends up in a big black hole, Now they're using Twitter so that you have this sense of conversation that actually influences who then goes through to the next rounds of the shows. I think we're going to continue to see those sorts of advancements. What's interesting is that advertisers have started to catch up with that idea as well, and they're allowing people now to be able to actively influence their advertising. So Mercedes had an extraordinary campaign in the UK where you could tweet to vote for what would happen in the next ad break, which was just fantastic. We've done something similar with You by Kotex in a Go Girls sponsorship, where we've asked people to respond to a question on Facebook, and then by the end of the show they see within the commercial break their own answer displayed in that ad break, where it reveals a kind of winner of a competition. So people are actively engaging with the TV screen through social media, actively engaging with advertiser messaging as well. So I think we're going to see more of that type of thing in the future, which will be extremely exciting for viewers, but also great for broadcasters and advertisers as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. Sounds very exciting. Cheers, Ian. I appreciate you taking the time.
No problem. Good to meet you, Dom.